If you keep going around in circles with your diet and you can't quite figure it out, you keep losing a pound, gaining a pound, and the circle of life continues, then this video is going to save you a ton of time on how to structure a diet effectively. How do I know it works? Because I used to be 185 kilos, morbidly obese, 400 pounds, couldn't tie my own shoelaces. As a busy parent, father, and business owner, I used the structure that I'm about to share with you to change my life. I lost 150 pounds using this exact process. These steps you need to take to structure your diet effectively. Set a goal. Makes sense. But lose weight is not a goal. It's an idea. How much weight do you want to lose and in what time frame? I recommend for most people's dieting phase, we talk 8, 10 or 12 weeks. That tends to be most people's attention span. So whether it's 8 kilos in 10 weeks, but we've now got a number, we've got a marker, and we've got something to go after. Choose your method. The fitness industry has two camps, broadly speaking. Quick, fast and aggressive, slow, sustainable, and neither's right, neither's wrong. What is best for you? That is the key that we need to figure out. So before we start thinking about calories, we need to figure out what are you prepared to give, sacrifice, or change. If you're in a period of high stress, low sleep, struggling just to get basic tasks done, then going hard and aggressive and fast at something is probably setting yourself up for fail. Similarly, if you're in a nice bit of a quiet spot with work, children are all behaving themselves, everyone's actually sleeping through the night, then maybe hard, fast and aggressive is the right mindset for you. But where are you now? What are you prepared to give, change, sacrifice? And then with that information at hand, you can then choose the method that suits you best. It's not a forever thing, it's just a for now thing. Day one, how are we going to measure progress? A lot of us measure our progress by the cell step, the scales, your relationship to gravity. The weight is more than just your body fat. It's a mixture of carbohydrates, water, salt intake the day before, whether you've had a shit today. All of these things will collate together and give you a number. It's not the best way of tracking and measuring your progress. Day one, photos. Front, side, rear. In the morning, after going to the toilet, in your underwear. You don't have to put them on the internet. You can just take them for yourself. Or feel free to share. Then get a tape measure. Chest around the nipple line or underneath the armpit, but pick one and be consistent. Then around your belly button, then around where your belt or underwear would sit, and then for bonus marks, you can do arms and legs as well around the widest point. Every week, you're then going to redo those metrics alongside your scale weight. Because more often than not, I've seen countless times before with the guys that I work with, no change on the scale for a week, but we've lost centimeters off our chest, waist and hips, and our biceps and arms have stayed the same. But if we're not measuring them, we can then just get sidetracked and deflated because the scales haven't moved. But more often than not, you'll with weight loss, a bit of stagnation despite measurements still coming down, and then the weight will catch up. So it allows us to get more invested and involved in the things that matter. You don't walk down the beach holding up a sign saying, I weigh X. You walk down the beach in the body that you have. So those are the metrics that matter more. Do you see change in the photos? Do your clothes feel better? Do your measurements come down each week? If they are, then fuck the scales because we're winning. Calories. Now in the description below, I'm going to link you to the first thing that comes up on Google when you search for a calorie calculator. I'm no way associated with it, it's just me saving you a Google. At the end of this video, go into that and work out your basal metabolic calories. So that is using your age, weight, height and activity levels. Be honest, it will tell you how many calories you need to eat to stay the same. So let's just say it's 2,500 calories. So if you want to be super aggressive and you want to try and lose weight faster, then drop 500 to 800 calories off that number. If you're looking at more slower, sustainable fat loss, then you're looking at 300 to 500 off that number. But having that calorie number to aim for is massive. And as I said earlier, if you're going to go aggressive, then it's going to take some commitment. It's going to take some sacrifice. You're probably not going to fit alcohol, takeaways, and a lot of social occasions into 1,800 calories a day. However, if you're going more sustainable and steadier, you probably can, but we still need to keep a lid on it. So once we've worked out our calories, we then start tracking. And tracking is including everything: butters, sauces, spreads, anything that you eat and consume that has a calorie content, we need to track it because that will very quickly add up and create a calorie surplus if we're not careful. Yes, we're looking at losing half a kilo to a kilo a week on either one of those methods, but remember, the bigger picture are the metrics and the photos, not just what the scales are saying. The key, protein and fiber. If we're talking about protein, we know that it helps build muscle. We know that it keeps you fuller for longer, so we probably need to lean into it. In a diet phase, the hardest thing is normally the snacks, the cravings, and trying to override that feeling in your head of feeling hungry. If we have protein with every meal at set times throughout the day, it starts to negate those cravings and the challenges that we face. And again, with that, try and structure it consistently. A lot of people with their diets, they can eat to all different manners and times of the day, which I appreciate isn't always the easiest thing to do. But if we can eat at semi-consistent times, 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 5:30 p.m., then the body starts to get into that rhythm and it starts to just get used to that level of calories. But if some days we're fasting, some days we're not, some days we're eating really early, some days we're eating really late, then it all starts to get a little bit more challenging. So consistency of the time that you're eating, along with protein with every meal, starts to make things easier. And then the one that a lot of people don't talk about is fiber. The first thing that people start to notice when they're dieting, when they're on low calories, is they're not as regular with their toilet movements. So making sure we're hitting 20, 25, 30 grams of fiber with your meals is really important, which unfortunately for those of you that don't eat a lot of vegetables, it's probably going to mean eating some fucking vegetables and some fruits. But nonetheless, if we're getting a good quality source of fiber, it will help with regulation of your appetite and will help with your regular bowel movements, which also then helps manage expectation with the scale. The amount of people that have sent me messages saying, I've not lost any weight this week, 24 hours later, okay, I've been to the toilet, I've actually lost a couple kilos. Don't be full of shit, eat your fiber. The hot stepping. The most non-used tool in our arsenal of weaponry against fat loss. I love HIIT. I love intense training. I love feeling like I've worked out. However, it's hard to recover from high intensity training when your calories are lower. When you have less fuel in the system, it's harder to have that massive output. It's harder to recover from. And guess what happens when we struggle with recovery? We feel tired, we feel shit. And guess what happens when we feel tired and shit? We stop doing it. So steps are the lowest impact form of movement that we can do, and it gives us the biggest bang for our buck. And yes, you've heard 10,000 steps, but John, I work in an office and I only get 3,000 a day. Cool, then your target is 4,000. It doesn't have to be this monumental trying to walk a damn marathon a day. It just needs to be a little bit more than what you were doing last week. So if you do 4,000 a week on average, then this week we're going to go for 5,000. Just add 1,000 steps extra a day, and suddenly, my friends, we start to increase our caloric output, which creates a bigger deficit, which means that we're able to recover faster because we're not killing ourselves on a cross trainer, and then we start to lose more weight. How are we going to be training? The gym is important. For a lot of people, that is the thing they enjoy about dieting, about training. But for other people, it's the thing that they just can't fit in. It's a step too far. The gym is a nice to do, not a have to do when we're talking about fat loss. If we're talking about building muscle, then yes, it is relatively essential. But if we're talking purely, primarily about dropping body fat, the gym is not a necessity. However, if you can do the gym, you can make it consistent, have a plan. Most people do not have a plan in the gym. They go in, fuck around, don't really do a lot, and they're just at the gym, not training. If you want a free gym guide, by the way, go down to the description, head to the link, and I'll send you a free 14-day training program. No charge, no secret fucking hooks or tie-ins, just a free training program to give you something to start with. Sleep! Oh, it's another fucking coach telling me I need more sleep. Yes, to some extent it is. However, for most of us, we can't control the length of time we sleep. Children, 4 a.m. work starts, whatever. However, we can control the quality of sleep that we're having. Then it's going to allow us to operate better. The main thing with sleep, though, is that there's a direct correlation, and I see this time and time again with the people I work with and myself as well. When you've had a shit night's sleep, guess what happens the next day? You eat like shit as well, because you're tired, you run down, you're looking for a dopamine hit, you're looking for something to pick you up, perk you up and get you back in the game. If you have shit sleep, it directly correlates poor choices the next day. So in terms of sleep quality, how are we going to get to bed consistently? A bedtime routine, our sleep hygiene, making sure we're not doom scrolling on our phone before we get into bed, all of that kind of thing. But the second part of that is assess in the morning, have I slept well? Because if you haven't, that's where before you even start your day, before you have your first mouthful of food, we need to create a plan. Because if you go into a day tired, run down and exhausted, you're going to choose shit choices. However, if you have a plan to follow at breakfast, lunches and dinners, suddenly we have something that we can just compare and contrast to and just follow and execute rather than having to make choices consistently. High quality H2O. A big weapon when we're talking about dieting, not just because of cognitive function, but also helping with metabolization of fat, keeping you fuller for longer, and if anything, needing a piss every 5 seconds is going to help with your step count. But drinking 2 to 3 to 4 litres of water a day is key. But how are you going to do that? You're going to actually structure it into your day. I've got a big 2 litre water bottle that I have to finish by lunchtime, and then I'll refill it and I'll have to finish that by dinner time. 2 litres plus 2 litres, quick maths is 4, and that's how I then get my hydration target in. But if you're not getting your hydration on point, then you're opening yourself up to the snacks, to the cravings, to the croissants and the coffees. Get your hydration done and you're halfway there in terms of managing your cravings in your diet process. And the final step for today is review it. So we've set our goal. Every single week, we want to take our photos, our measurements, and our scale weight. We want to review these key steps. Have you done them consistently? Have you adopted the method you said you were going to? Are you going hard and fast, or are you going steady and sustainable? Compare it to day one. Where are we? Have we moved forward? Have the measurements, the metrics, the photos changed? Have we consistently hit our calories? Have we tracked them? Is there room for improvement? If we've gone over, why have we gone over? But honesty is the best policy, and reflect on the calorie intake based on the results that you've seen. Have we hit our protein and fibre targets? If you've not hit 150, 200 grams of protein a day plus your 25 grams of fibre, why not? Where can we improve it? Where can we add more things into it? And how do we hit it next week? Have we been hot stepping? Did we get our extra 1,000 steps? If we did, how hard was it? Could we add another 1,000 next week? Have we followed our training plan? If we didn't get to the gym, why didn't we? And what did we do instead? Did we increase our step count to offset it, or did we just think, fuck it, never mind? But how did the gym training go? How are you feeling with it? Do we need to tweak and change anything? And then we can keep progressing from there. Did we get to bed on time? Is sleep an absolute rarity? In which case, what can we do to improve it? Did we drink our water? And what results have we seen? By reviewing not just the progress that we've seen, but a genuine, honest reflection on have we done the work, we can then rinse and repeat. But again, with dieting, a lot of people will just kind of track, kind of train, and then a week's time be, fucking hell, not lost any weight, what's the point? The more you can be consistently accountable, accurate, and reviewing of the actions, the behaviors, your habits, the more you will see results, changes and progress. Because ultimately it's the man in the mirror. I can give you a framework, I can tell you your calories, I can give you a training plan to follow, but if you're not proactively reviewing and reflecting on your behaviors, you're going to struggle. So 10 steps to actually implement a diet. There we go. Let me know in the comment section what your target is over the next 8, 10 or 12 weeks and which those steps that you need to prioritize most. But also remember, download the free fucking training guide and give yourself a head start with something fun to follow that isn't just pissing around in the gym. So until next time, Godspeed, all best.